You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Welcome to From Beneath the Hollywood Sign. If you love old movies, Hollywood history, or the golden age of filmmaking, you've come to the right place. This is the podcast that talks about amazing stories of Tinseltown from another era and fascinating conversations with writer-producer Steve Cubine and actress-writer Nan McNamara.
So, Steve, did Ava Gardner and Howard Hughes have a good relationship?
Well, they did until he dislocated her jaw.
What?
Well, don't worry. She hit him back with an ashtray.
From Beneath the Hollywood Sign is the gin joint for you.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the show where lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Matt, and I will be hosting this special episode of our Simpsons tournament. This is episode 2. If you missed episode 1, it's right there in your feed, so just click back and check that out. The way this works, we're going to have a tournament style. This is group 2. We have 6 contestants. The top 2 will be moving on to the final round. Joining me today, keeping score and not knowing anything about The Simpsons, is Neil. How's it going, Neil?
I'm doing well. In between the first episode and this episode, 1 week, I tried to watch as much Simpsons as I could, but about 10 minutes was just not enough to watch, all the season. So I tried, though. Yeah,
it's tough on Disney Plus when you want to watch it with The Mandalorian there and so many of the other, movies and different stuff. There's like 7 Herbie Love Bug movies on there, so I understand how you can get distracted from time to time.
Yeah, but I do enjoy, I hope there's some celebrity cameo questions possibly in this round. That is one thing that I appreciate The Simpsons for. There's always some great celebrity cameos, so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get some Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger questions. Probably not, though. So that is kind of going to be how the game works. This game is brought to you by all our supporters at Patreon, patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. All of the contestants, I believe, are Patreon supporters, and we always appreciate everyone who can donate whatever they can. There's lots of different perks, lots of bonus episodes, posters, character boxes. Am I missing anything, Neil? What else can you get as being a Patreon supporter?
Right, everything you said.
And support.
Most important, I guess you get a lot of extra audio content. So different interviews that we've done with some guests, or just fun sort of episodes where we can be a little bit more unfiltered. But we very much appreciate all the support of people on Patreon. And it really allows us to do things like this, where we can continually put out these new trivia tournaments, which have been great. Just extra content, not just one episode, but you get 3 out of it, and it means a lot, especially during this time, which has made it a little bit harder for us to record. But we've been getting through it and learning some new things. So it's been fun to continually get inside your ears, which now, as I say it, it sounds very creepy, but thank you.
Yeah, it's really weird that we can say during this time, and that could mean like 7 different things, and it's always evergreen content because there's always something happening now.
There you go.
That's where we are, apparently. So with all of that out of the way, let's meet our contestants. Joining us first today is going to be John. John, how's it going today?
It's going well. I'm pretty excited to be here.
Awesome. Where are you Skyping in from?
I live in Jersey now, but I'm originally from St. Louis. I saw one of our contestants has a Bleed Blue, and I'm a pretty big hockey fan. So I know you guys. I know you guys aren't fans of the Blues, but
yeah. Hockey barely exists right now, so we're okay with it. And apparently the Blackhawks are going to be in the playoffs because they're just letting everyone in. So I guess that's good for us. What's your favorite episode of The Simpsons, John?
I figured you were going to ask this. I'm actually really torn between 2: New York City versus Homer Simpson and Homer the Smithers. Both of them are fantastic Homer episodes, but I mean, the New York City one, there's just so many times where I die laughing, even now, having watched it multiple times.
I always think that when people ask us if we have a bathroom at my Starbucks now, I say no, only Kropka no bathroom. So so good luck, John. Thanks for being here. Our next contestant is going to be Matt. How's it going, Matt?
It's going pretty well. Also excited to try this. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself. So that's the goal.
Awesome. Where are you Skyping in from?
I'm from Wichita, Kansas. So.
All right. Awesome. And what's your favorite episode of The Simpsons?
My favorite would be You Only Move Twice, the James Bond parody.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite too. It's a pretty classic. In the first game, I asked what Homer's dream was to own the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And he only got the Denver Broncos, which was actually pretty great because they won the Super Bowl the next year.
That's true.
Awesome stuff. So good luck, Matt. Also joining us today is Paul. Paul, who's been on the show quite a few times now. How's it going, Paul? You are muted, Paul. I say you've been on the show a few times, and then you
there it goes.
Forget to unmute.
He was eating that white bread and dipping in water, right?
I'm doing all right here. Thanks for having me again.
All right, and you're also from New Jersey, right?
I am. Yep. Down the Central Shore area, Brick Township. Hey, John, where are you from?
I live in the Burlington area.
Oh, okay.
All right, couple of Jersey boys.
And to answer your question, Lisa's wedding.
All right.
Absolutely. It's so much good stuff in there in the in the future of 2010.
Yeah, some of the timeline stuff gets blown up a little bit when they do things like that 90s show or whatever that episode was where they decided that Homer was in college in the 90s. But we don't talk about that because this is going to be seasons 1 through 10. So we're going to ignore that. All right. Good luck today, Paul. Also joining us is Danny. How's it going, Danny?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Where are you Skyping in from?
I'm from just outside of St. Louis. I'm the person with the "We All Bleed Blue" towel. Little town called Washington, Missouri.
Awesome. And what is your favorite episode?
A couple of mine have already been named. You Only Move Twice. New York City versus Homer Simpson. But number 3 on the list would probably be Marge versus the Monorail.
Another classic. It's been brought up a few times. Awesome. Well, good luck today, Danny. Also joining us is a familiar voice for Triviality listeners. How's it going, Addy?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. And you're joining us from, I always get this wrong, Scotland, right?
Scotland, yep. I'm based in Southwest Scotland.
As you can tell, possibly by your accent a little bit.
My accent does slightly give it away, yep.
You got your Scottish flag bringing you good luck today, hopefully?
I hope so. I desperately hope I get a single question right as I desperately try to remember anything about the show.
All right. Well, setting the bar low is usually a good way to do that. What's your favorite episode of The Simpsons?
It's really hard to pick just one. But aside from some of the ones that have already been named, I've always had a soft spot for Camp Krusty. I just think there is just so much great stuff in there. It's a kind of the Camp Krusty and also Das Boot, the Lord of the Flies parody. Both of those are just terrific.
And they were rescued by, let's say Mo. Great episode. Good luck today, Addy. And finally joining us is Larry. Now, Larry, this is your first appearance on the show. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Larry is my brother. So we'll get that out of the way. And I didn't give him the questions ahead of time. So if he does well, there's no. So there's nothing there. Larry, where are you Skyping in from?
Chicago, Illinois.
All right. Neil, you're a little familiar with Chicago, possibly?
Yeah, just a little bit familiar, yeah.
just a little outside. Larry, what is your favorite episode of The Simpsons?
Well, my 2 favorites have already been said. You Only Move Twice and Marge versus the Monorail are great episodes. I'm a little embarrassed that I can't remember the name of the episode, but the critic crossover with the film festival is an absolute classic.
Yeah, I felt like growing up, we watched a ton of The Critic.
More than we should at that age.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody else was super into The Critic, but especially moving out here to LA now, and I meet some of these writers, and it's just like I understand why The Critic is not popular with the masses, but very popular out here on the West Coast. But yeah, good luck today, Larry. So those are our contestants. I'm going to be asking 15 questions, and the contestants with the 2 highest scores will be moving on to the final to face off against Danny and Joe. Any questions about anything we're doing today, guys? I will take your silence as compliance, and we are going to move on and start asking these questions. All right. Neil will be keeping score and checking in from time to time. And are you guys all ready? I'm seeing some thumbs up. So let's get going with question 1. Question 1. What is the name of the candy that Homer grabs off the babysitter's pants in Homer Badman? Seems like everyone is locked in. We'll start with John. What did you say?
The gummy Venus de Milo.
All right. And Matt?
Also the gummy Venus de Milo.
Paul?
Yep. Gummy Venus de Milo.
Danny?
Gummy Venus de Milo.
Addy?
It's the gummy Venus de Milo.
And Larry?
That's the gummy Venus de Milo.
And the answer is the gummy Venus de Milo. Great job, everyone.
Good start.
Always good to get off on a strong start. So also from that episode, question 2. What was the name of the Rock Bottom segment based on Groundskeeper Willie? All right, so let's go through. John, what did you say?
Rowdy Peeper.
Matt?
Well, that's better than mine. I just said Peeping Willie.
All right, and Paul?
John got it. Rowdy Peeper.
Danny?
All I could think of was Portrait of an Ass Grabber. So I had a tap.
Also a great segment. Addy?
Yeah, he's Roddy Peeper.
And Larry?
I had nothing. I couldn't come up with that one.
All right, the answer was Roddy Peeper. And you could tell he was a bad guy based on the music, apparently. So great job there. Question 3. I was on a little bit of a Willie kick when I was writing these, apparently. In The Shinning, what time does Willie tell Bart not to read his thoughts because that's Willie's time?
Not to be confused with Big Willie Style, right, Matt? The Will Smith album.
Correct. Which you should only listen to between this time. Big Willie Style is actually the first CD I ever purchased. Fun fact.
It was a good CD. I mean, you had Miami, Big Willie Style, and the other songs.
Just the two
of us, right? Oh, yeah, right.
Him and future superstar Jaden Smith.
No, I'm not going to take forever on this. I'll lock in a stab here.
Mm-hmm. All right. Everybody is locked in. John, what did you say?
I honestly could not 100% remember this, but I feel like it rhymed. So I believe he said between 8 and 9 because that's Willie's time.
Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I had a similar thought, and I also went with 8 and 9.
Paul?
I went with between 6 and 7.
All right. And Danny?
I really hope between 8 and 9's right because that's what I wrote down.
And Addy?
I feel like 7's one of them, but I couldn't remember the other one. I said 5 and 7 with no confidence.
And Larry?
I said 6 and 6:30. I'm not sure why.
All right. No points there. It's actually don't go reading my thoughts between 4 and 5 because that's Willie's time. As a kid, I didn't quite get that joke, but it starts to make sense as you get older.
Oh, now I see. Now I get it. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. The first time you heard the joke, because you probably didn't see the episode. Moving on to question 4. What is the name of the musical Bart, Lisa, and Marge see while in New York? Everybody appears to be locked in, so we'll start with John. What did you say?
I can't believe I said this was my favorite episode, and I cannot remember this. It has to do with cats. I think I'm just locking with cats.
Okay. And Matt?
I went with checking in the Betty Ford story.
Okay. And Paul?
I just put down checking in.
Okay. Danny?
I tapped, but I think it came to me before they started talking. I think it's kicking it, but I already tapped.
Okay. Addy?
I had absolutely nothing on this. I just said Phantom of the Opera. I know that all.
That's very different play there. Larry, what'd you say?
I'm checking in is probably right. I wrote down Cats. I know they did a parody at some point, but I think it was a different episode.
Mm-hmm. There definitely was a Cats parody at some point, and Checking In was the song that he sings, but the musical was Kickin' It, A Musical Journey Through the Betty Ford Clinic. So Matt was really close. Do we get points there? Who said? Someone said Kicking It, right?
I think Danny said Kicking It, but he had tapped early, but he was the only one.
I didn't get it till they started talking about.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. So I guess that'd be no points then for everyone. So just a clean wipe there.
Gotcha. Well, let's hope that this next question brings us some points. It's a little bit of an easier one. In Lemon of Troy, what code name does Martin give for his pairing with Nelson? Another great episode with the turnip tree of Shelbyville.
Oh, this is absolutely one of my favorite episodes. I love every minute of this.
Questions as useless as that lemon-shaped rock. If anyone's a fan of Simpsons posting, there's so much of the lemon face from this episode, which is pretty great. So it looks like everybody is locked in. John, what did you say?
It's funny. I actually belonged to a server one time, a chat server that had this name, Team Discovery Channel.
All right, and Matt?
I was not a part of a Discord server, but I did know it was Team Discovery Channel.
All right, Paul?
Yeah, 100% Team Discovery Channel.
And Danny?
I had nothing.
Okay. Addy?
Absolutely Team Discovery Channel, much to Nelson's chagrin.
And Larry?
Team Discovery Channel is correct, but I wrote down Belle and Sebastian. That could have worked.
That would have also worked. Yeah, that's true. The answer was Team Discovery Channel. Yeah, Martin was pretty proud of that name. So after 5 questions, what are the scores, Neil?
All right. After 5 questions, tied for third place is Danny and Larry with 1 point. In second place currently is Matt with 2 points. And tied for first are Addy, Paul, and John with 3 points apiece.
All right. So we will move on to question 6. On New Billboard Day, Homer sees ads for English muffins, Best in the West barbecue sauce, and this. All right, everyone is locked in. John, what did you say?
I got everything the billboards told me to get, but I'm not going to sign up for that stupid clown college.
All right,
Clown
Matt?
college is what it is.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, I went with Clown College as well.
All right, Paul?
Clown College? I can't eat that.
Danny?
Yep, Clown College.
And Addy?
Yep, you can't eat that. It's Clown College.
And Larry?
It's obviously Clown College.
Yeah, the answer was Krusty's Clown College, which is the billboard that for the community college we went to, right, Larry? Is that accurate?
It was, yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Somewhat similar. All right, moving on. What is the name of the Boy Scouts-esque group that Bart joins in Boy Scouts in the Hood? All right. It appears that everyone has locked in. John, what did you say?
The Junior Campers.
Matt.
This took me way too long. I had Junior in my head the whole time, and I kept wanting to say Junior Rangers, but I finally remembered it is Junior Campers.
Paul?
Yep, Junior Campers.
Danny?
Junior Campers.
All right. Addy?
I just could not remember this at all, so I had nothing.
And Larry?
I had campers. I went with Lil Campers.
And the answer was Junior Campers. So some of you guys remembered to not do what Donnie Don't does, I believe, is how that.
Yeah, the 10 do's and 500 don'ts of life safety.
One of my favorite.
I was just going to say, I just remembered it's one of my favorite Nelson insults, campers, pampers, and then they steal his clothes and he doesn't care.
What a great episode. All right. Moving on to another one of my favorite episodes. In Bart versus Australia, how much does Bart's collect call with Tobias cost the child's father, prompting him to alert the Prime Minister? I kind of wish that I asked this on the first game because Danny is from Australia, and I wanted to ask if she knew the Prime Minister. All right. Appears that everyone is locked in. John, what did you say?
I came into this so confident, and now I'm questioning myself, so I'm just going to roll with my initial answer, which is $312.
All right. Matt?
I didn't have a very good answer. I just said $1,000.
Paul?
$900 dues.
Danny?
Well, Paul stole my thunder, but yes, $900 dues.
Oh, damn it. I said $500 dues.
And Larry?
It's $900 dues.
Yes, the answer was $900 dues, which is my favorite explanation of anything that's expensive ever. That episode has it was actually banned in Australia for a little bit. Apparently, they didn't like their representation as much.
So they gave it the boot.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a slight kick with a wingtip, I believe.
I believe it's a wingtip.
All right, moving on. All right, question 9. In 2001 Greyhounds, what actor is Mr. Burns reminded of when the dogs are able to stand on their hind legs?
This is a deep Hollywood reference even for me after looking up the answer. Wow.
I'm tapping out. Yeah, I'm embarrassed the fact I'm clearly the only one who doesn't actually know this.
Yeah, I had when I first was like, wait, who is that? I Googled it because I thought it was a made up name forever, and I realized it was a real person. And if Neil can give any background on this person, I'd actually be super, super impressed. But so let's go through the answers. John, what did you say?
I would also like to know who he is. I just know his name is Rory Calhoun.
All right, Matt.
I also have no idea who he is, but I know that it is Roy Calhoun.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm going to want Neil's explanation too, but yeah, they were all standing up like a bunch of Rory Calhouns.
Danny?
Yeah, Rory Calhoun, still no idea who the heck that is. So.
And Addy?
I remember it now, but I couldn't remember at the time, so I had nothing.
All right, and Larry?
It's Rory Calhoun, always standing.
Yeah, the answer was Rory Calhoun. Neil, do you have any idea who that is?
Yeah, Rory Calhoun. He was like an actor. He was in a lot of westerns. He was in a show called The Texan, and he knew David O. Selznick pretty well. But he had a supporting role in How to Marry a Millionaire with Marilyn Monroe. So it wasn't. He's sort of like a character actor. So it was just kind of a random reference. I didn't even realize that The Simpsons would go that deep. But I know they do have a lot of references like that. So.
Yeah, the writers loved putting old-timey references in Mr. Burns' mouth. Like that was like they would just think of the most random thing that they could think of, and that's what Mr. Burns was there for most of the time.
Yeah, there's a great reference for people. It's kind of a deep thing, but L.A. Confidential. Here's a really long side note. L.A. Confidential, film noirish movie about 40s Los Angeles, but the Confidential in the title is based sort of on the rag called Confidential, which was sort of like a TMZ of the time. And this guy, Rory Calhoun, he was widely known because his mugshot was on it, like in the mid-50s. So he was on Confidential.
So that's the kind of information you can only get from Triviality, apparently.
There you go.
Glad we could share that. Question 10. In A Fish Called Selma, which guest star voices Agent MacArthur Parker? The episode with the classic, I ordered a Zima, not emphysema.
I remember Zima.
They're kind of back. I mean, if you think about White Claw being just flavored Zima.
It's only a matter of time before Zima is in Urban Outfitters and everyone's buying it along with their Polaroid cameras and vinyl.
Clear Pepsi.
Yeah.
Crystal Pepsi, right?
Yeah, I've got no. I'm just going to have to tap out again. This is embarrassing. But I've got nothing.
All right. Everyone is locked in. John, what did you say?
I was so afraid that I wasn't going to be able to remember his name. I can remember everything about him, every movie that he's in, but it's Jeff Goldblum.
That you found a way. Matt, what did you say?
I said something wrong. I was hoping it had something to do with a fish called Wanda, and so I just went with John Cleese.
All right. Paul?
Yep, Jeff Goldblum.
Danny?
Yeah, Malcolm himself, Jeff Goldblum.
And Addy?
I'm having a really bad run at the moment. I couldn't remember this one either. I had nothing.
All right. And Larry?
It was a different episode, but I was thinking Rip Torn.
Oh, that would be a very different voice there. So it was Jeff Goldblum. So good job to those who had it.
Okay, so after 10 questions, it looks like Addy and Larry both have 4 points. Right above them is Matt with 5. And then our top 3 at the moment, Danny with 6, John with 7, and with that last question taking the lead, Paul with 8. So very close.
Question 11. What is the name of McBain's partner's boat that he purchased before his untimely death at the hands of some of Mendoza's henchmen? Neil, did you ever see the actual McBain movie?
No, I haven't. This is the character I was talking about?
Yeah,
last episode?
So they originally just named him McBain, but then they were asked to stop using it because a movie came out also called McBain, which was not related, and it's like a basic Schwarzenegger-style action movie.
Oh, wow, and it's got Christopher Walken in it. How about that? 1991. See, that's a good trivia fact right there.
I'm sure that'll be useful at some point in time.
And did you know, if you look at all the clips of the McBain clips throughout the series, they all make one cohesive movie.
Yeah, you can watch it. There's like tons of YouTube like compilations that like put them all together, and you can watch the full movie from start to finish. Neil, you had a fact you wanted to share?
It's basically called 6 Degrees of McBain. So McBain, 1991, with Christopher Walken, directed by a guy named James Glickenhaus, which is funny because his Wikipedia is mostly about what cars he owns. But he was the executive producer of Maniac Cop, which starred Robert Zedar, who was famous for his chin line, who I rolled around in a wheelchair on a indie film set when he demanded I buy him whiskey when I wasn't allowed to by his wife. But I did it anyway because I didn't want to get fired. So there's your fact.
I'm so glad we got to share that today. All right, let's get back to the question. John, what did you say?
I'm locking in with the live forever with a 4 instead of the word for.
All right, and Matt?
Yeah, this one also took me a while, but it is, I'm pretty sure, the live forever.
Paul?
Yep, the live forever.
Danny?
Nope, I just guessed the retirement.
Addy?
Despite the way I'm playing today, I swear to God, I actually do know The Simpsons, but not this one again, unfortunately.
Okay, and Larry?
That one is the ironic live forever. He is 2 days away from retirement.
Yep. Just christened his boat the Live Forever. Mendoza. Right. Okay. We all got it. All right. Moving on. Question 12. Who does Mr. Burns get to direct his movie, A Burns for All Seasons? All right. Everyone is locked in. John, what did you say?
I can't remember what Mr. Burns calls him, but he's Senor Spielbergo.
And Matt?
This is non-union Mexican equivalent, Spielbergo.
And Paul?
Nicely done.
Senor Spielbergo.
Danny?
Yep, Senor Spielbergo.
Addy?
Yep, finally managed to break the rut. Yeah, Steven Spielberg's non-union Mexican equivalent, Senor Spielbergo.
And Larry?
That's Senor Spielbergo.
Mm-hmm. The answer was Senor Spielbergo. Noting that Schindler, I believe, was good, and Senor Burns is muy mal. Moving on to question 13. First appearing in Natural Born Kissers, what is the name of the airplane-themed restaurant that the Simpsons eat at to celebrate Marge and Homer's anniversary?
I am racking my brain trying to think of this. I know it. But all I can think about is Mr. Burns's miniature plane that he made.
The Spruce
I
Moose?
almost put that too.
The Spruce Moose. I'm going to have to tap. I cannot remember.
Okay. Hop in. Looks like we are all locked in. John, what did you say?
I tapped. I did not have an answer.
Okay. And Matt?
I just try to think of something that could be airplane related, so I just called it Takeoff.
Okay. Paul?
I just tried to think of something that would be airplane related, so I said Up, Up, and Away.
Danny?
Paul's real close. I believe it's Up, and Buffet.
Addy?
I can picture it. I know it's like the airplane sort of shakes about. They simulate turbulence for some reason. Everyone's meals go flying everywhere. I could not remember the name at all.
Yeah, they tipped the wings for their anniversary.
Yeah. Question. And then Larry, what did you say?
The wing tipping made me think the turbulence, but I think it's Up, and Buffet. But I wrote the turbulence.
Yeah, when Danny said Up, and Buffet, everyone's face on the Skype was like, oh, that's what it is. Yep, the answer was Up, and Buffet. An amazing pun in a terrible themed restaurant that probably exists somewhere. I can imagine. There has to be an airplane-themed restaurant out there like that.
Okay, so I got 3 out of the 4 words in that correct. So that's worth 0.75 points, right?
Sure. You can take your 0.75 points, but we round down, unfortunately. So.
Right. It's worth $0.75 reduce.
We'll figure out the translation on that later. Moving on to question 14. In Much Apu About Nothing, Apu gets a fake ID to become an American citizen to avoid deportation. What baseball team does he claim as his favorite squadron as to avoid suspicion? All right. Everyone is locked in. John, what did you say?
The Nye Mets are my favorite baseball squadron.
Matt?
The Mets.
Paul?
Yeah, it was the Nye Mets.
Danny?
The Nye Mets.
Eddie?
Right city, wrong team. I said the Yankees.
And Larry?
It's the Nye Mets.
Yep. The answer is the Nye Mets. And you have all said it 100% correctly. Paul, you're a Mets fan, aren't you? Is that correct?
I am a Lakewood Blue Claws fan. That's about as far as I go with baseball. I'm not a major league fan.
Well, there you go.
I like the team that's about 10 minutes from home with cheap beer.
That's probably the right answer. Perfect. So we're moving on to the final question of this round. Question 15. What town in Scotland is Willie said to be from?
Locked in.
Are you near there, Addy? Is this close to where you stay at, possibly?
I'm not going to give that one away.
Yeah, one of our famous listeners, Jerry Seinfeld, loves the New York Mets, right, Matt?
That is true.
I'm just saying he listens to the show because that maybe at one point it will happen. So there you go.
Modern day Seinfeld is one of my favorite Twitter follows. If you guys aren't following, it's pretty outstanding.
It's great.
It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, there's one that came out the other day that was about Jerry dating a girl who wants to defund the police, and it was like, she's a defunder. She wants to defund the police.
Oh, but my favorite recent one was someone who Jerry was dating that refused to wear a mask. So that was good. All right, final question, Matt. Let's see what we got here.
Everyone is locked in. John, what did you say?
I'm not sure, not confident at all, but I said Inverness.
Okay, Matt?
I don't even think this is a city in Scotland, but it's the only word that would come to my mind, and I said Aberdeen.
Okay, Paul?
I don't know why this is twigging to me, but I am saying Kirkwall.
All right, Danny?
Yeah, like Matt, I went with Aberdeen. Not sure if it's right, but I know he yells it at one point.
All right, Eddie?
Well, Aberdeen is a city because it's where I was born. And Kirkwall is also a real place. That's up in Orkney. But this one is not a real place. It is, and it's nowhere, therefore, where I live. It is North Kilttown.
All right. And Larry?
I think that's right. I wrote New Scottstown.
Oh, very close, Larry. It was North Kilttown. Great job, Addy. I expected you to get that with the big Scottish flag over your shoulders. I feel like you had an advantage on that one.
It's one of the very few today I have actually got.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up our game today. Neil, let's get those scores.
So what I love about today's game is it was not only close, and it could have come down to a tiebreaker for, I believe, second place if a couple of the answers were different. But today's answers are actually, today's standings are in sequential order, which I don't think I've ever seen happen before. So in sixth place with 6 points is Addy. Fifth place with 7 points, Larry. Fourth place, Matt with 8. Third place, Danny with 9. And moving on to the final round, in second place, John with 10. And in first place, Paul with 11. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Well done.
All right. Thank you.
Great game, everyone.
Yeah, it was really close. A lot of those questions were some pretty deep pulls. So let's just get some last words from some of our contestants. Addy, how'd you tough luck today, but how'd you feel about the game overall?
It was a lot of fun. I'm embarrassed about how badly I played, but well done to everyone else, and good luck in the finals for those progressing.
All right, and Larry?
Oh, it was great. A lot of fun. I thought I was only going to get like 3 right, so that worked out for me. A little upset that you didn't ask about Fritz Schnackenpfefferhausen because I know how to spell it, but that's all right.
All right. I expected a little better than you, Larry. We watched 3 times a day pretty much for 7 years straight.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been better, but it's all right. It was a lot of fun anyway.
Well, thank you for being on. Danny, any last words?
Just glad I didn't embarrass myself. I think I put on a perfectly cromulent performance, so I'll take it.
There you go. Matt.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I've wasted a large portion of my childhood watching this show repeatedly to get this many right, but just proves that Homer was right. That trying is the first step towards failure. So,
all right. Thank you, Matt. So, John and Paul, moving on to the finals. How do you feel going forward to the finals, Paul?
I think John and I both have a real noble spirit here.
It has somewhat embiggened you, I would say. Absolutely. John, how do you feel going into the finals?
Super nervous. Paul makes me worried about who won in the first round and how I'm going to stack up against everyone. But I'm excited, and I had a lot of fun playing. So.
Well, I will say that Danny had a perfect 15 for 15, so it might be a little tough in the finals, but we'll see. So Paul and John are moving on to face Joe and Danny in the finals. That will be coming out to you guys next week right here in the Triviality feed. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you, Neil, for keeping score. Any final words on this game today, Neil?
No, just want to say thank you to all of our competitors for taking the time out to join us today. Thank you for your Patreon support and everyone else who supports us on Patreon. We appreciate it. It's the lifeblood of the show, helps us do these bonus episodes. And then just everyone for listening, whether you're a Simpsons fan or not. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we appreciate you supporting our show.
Yep. So thank you to everyone. My name was Matt, and that was Triviality.